But that pass definitely put a definite nail in the coffin. Alrighty, my buddy Clarky has gotten the engine out of the car. I've not been working on this thing because I am just too insanely busy. He's been tearing the engine apart. Let's go see what he's got going on. You got number 6 rod out, number 6 piston and rod. Oh yeah, there you go. That there is a broken ringland. That is what I figured had happened. The way it was oiling but still had some compression is it broke that piston. Now, if you take a look, we'll go back and I'll show you that spark plug that blew out on day 2 where it pushed the porcelain all the way through. It's a good little tech tip for you. I put a brand new set of plugs in this thing, and if you notice, the strap is exactly the way it's supposed to be. This is not a hurt plug. Outside of that porcelain is now about, you see the discoloration right there? And you see these weird little dimples? It actually has pushed the spark plug out. And if it probably would have ran anymore, it probably would have pushed the porcelain, pushed the spark plug all the way clean through. Now, what you see is that bearing, I mean, everything looks fantastically good, actually, through here. I'll take the rest of them out. But that particular hole, that spark plug did that. That from that moment on, all of a sudden my engine was breathing more than normal. It probably cracked that piston. Did a little bit of damage to it because this is the bearing that's out of it. There's nothing wrong there. It's not, no, it's not squished out. It's not hurt, not anything. And then on day 3, when we fixed the boost controller, changed the CO2 gate and did that last pass where I was up on the 2-step and didn't have the trans brake oriented right, finished the piston off, and that's where we started oiling, and then that's just basically when we just started driving and giving up. So we will continue to tear this thing apart, show you the rest of it, but I think everything is looking really good. Let's look at the bore. People are probably interested in looking at the bore on that. Is there a little spot on it? Yep. Yeah, just a very little spot. That's actually going to hone out. So that's actually a little bit of aluminum material, but that's going to hone out, so that's no big deal. I don't see, you want to roll this engine over and we'll see if there's anything else in the, no, I mean, actually roll the engine over. Well, you can, yeah, we can, yeah, here, go that way. And we'll look in the cylinder bores. And if it left a mark like that, and those cylinder bores, it'll probably leave another mark somewhere else. A little more. All right. And that looks good. Looks good. Again. That looks good. Yeah, that's nothing. That's probably a little bit of methanol staining. Looks good. Now this one looks good. Looks good. This one here looks good. Looks good. So I'm actually doubting that we're gonna see anything else going on. My bushing inserts look great. That looks fine. The lifters felt really good. No problems there. Let's see here. This one. That looks fine. And that looks fine. Let's go to this one. All right. Looks good. Looks good. Back up.
Back up, he says.
Yeah, that looks good. All right, then go down here. And that one looks good. And good. All right, yeah, so I doubt there's gonna be any problem anywhere else here. I think just a quick touch hone would be fine. But I'll continue on and we'll get this the rest of the way apart. But all things said and done, that is pretty nice. Nothing in the oil pan. We'll go over there, look at that real quick. Alrighty, now here's the oil pan, just draining out. There's nothing in there, no material. That looks great. So nothing in the oil there. Like I said, we're just letting that drain out. We'll get this thing the rest of the way tore apart. Show you the rest of the pistons, make sure that there is nothing else broke. Clark had to take off, so I will real quickly take this thing the rest of the way apart and then gotta go back to working on customer stuff. Alrighty now, so let's take a look at crankshaft. That is, looks like $1 million. Obviously looks like $1 million. Another $1 million. Wish it was $1 million. That'd be cool. And another $1 million. This one actually is the one that got hurt before, and there's that little dinger, but I'll show you that the bearing does not ever even see that. You got all my main studs are all in place. That's always good. It's always a positive. These are actually ARPs. All right, so that looks good. Crankshaft rolls over like $1 million. That's nice. Okay, our cylinder bores all look good. Let's look at these pistons and rods. Now you can see here, I'll show you. Rod bearing looks nice, just got oil and a little bit of lint and dirt. This is that number 6. So this would be number 8. This would be number 4. Also looks like very good, no problems. Now these are a V bearing. They're a very soft bearing, so they will show anything, literal dust, dirt, anything in behind it. That's what you actually see, any kind of shiny spots. This is the number 2. So this journal that has the dinger on it, right, and has another one right there, that is number 2 connecting rod. Notice, you do not see any gouges, anything like that, anything stupid. That bearing looks very good for a V bearing. It's got a, I don't know, 600 miles on it or so, and gone 660s. Let's look at these bearings. They all look the same. I'm not even going to bother wiping the oil off of them. They look really good. Very happy about that. Now we'll look at, let's see, I got to make sure my caps don't all fall off. We already looked at that number 6 rod. This would be number 8. That piston looks very good. That's just dirt right there. A little bit of light carbon tracking. I don't think that's anything to worry about. This is number 7. Everything's oily because obviously this thing has been oiling like nobody's business. When that piston breaks like that, it sends oil up through the entire engine on these low speeds. So the thing's sitting there idling around, driving at 2,000 RPM for 8 hours straight, or whatever it was. Felt like 8 hours straight. I think it was only about 4, maybe 5. But it sends oil through the entire engine and just uses it. That's fine. Which is also why we didn't make the pass. So this is number 3, which is also why we did not make the last day's pass, because then it was blowing oil out of the exhaust. The day before, it was not blowing oil. At Tri-State, it was not blowing oil out at that point in time, but that pass definitely put a definite nail in the coffin. Just made things worse. And so much so I couldn't go any farther. I didn't want to risk oiling up the track or doing something stupid. And it looks like that's very good. This would be number 2 right there. And oh, that's right, dropped it. God darn it. Hit the engine stand. I dropped it. You probably didn't see it, but dropped it right on the edge of the piston, slipped out of my hand. That piston's fine, and rings package is fine. This is number 4. That's all great. It literally was just this. Now, what causes that? I tell you just that the spark plug is the first indication. As soon as it blew that spark plug, the center of that spark plug out on this cylinder, all of a sudden it started breathing hard. It was not breathing hard before that. Then this cylinder is the one that continued to break as we made the next pass on it and then the next part pass on it and totally finished it off. Now, why does it do that? Oh, look at that. I can hold that right there. What's going on here is it's probably done one of 2 things. When it pushed that spark plug out, it would kill the cylinder. Of course, you're killing a cylinder that's making 40 pounds of boost on it. And on the last pass there at Great Lakes, it actually overshot because I didn't have my boost controller set up correctly. Hadn't made any passes with the boost controller and CO2 gates, so obviously overshot a little bit. So it's 40 plus pounds of boost, and then you have, but at the day 2, where it pushed the spark plug out, that spark plug looked perfect. I show you that. Perfect, except it pushed the center of the spark plug out. It is a spark plug problem. It is not a tune-up problem. There is no issues with that. It is a spark plug problem, a known spark plug problem. So what happens is it either completely shut the cylinder off, where it would have a lot of fuel in it, would go down, would find that spot, basically can push, hydraulic, whatever. You can see it really squishes that bottom oil ring out. This is why it can't control oil anymore. Bent the top ring, can't control compression or oil. You can see all that stuff. So it either overfuels. I think it tends to have more of a misfire situation where it's not a misfire enough to burn the spark plug like on detonation or too lean, because you can see that spark plug does not have too lean a condition or too much timing in it. It just plain out failed. I would say it probably misfired and then causes misfire detonation that would just possibly just break that ring like that. There's no reason to do that other than that. Every one of these cylinders, the spark plugs have been perfectly fine. This cylinder, the spark plug fails. Its center electrode pushes out. Would have to misfire, not fire, does whatever, makes that piston fail right there. Because it definitely is not lean. There's no lean condition. There's no burning condition. There's nothing going on here. The bearing looks great. It wasn't squished out. Didn't have any detonation enough to affect anything like a mistune. The only thing that happened with this cylinder is that stupid spark plug. So I will think Clark's coming back later. I'll have him get stuff cleaned up, and we're just gonna put another piston in here, which I wish I would have done at 6 Summer. because I would have been able to finish out just fine. And we'll get this thing back together. But all things said and done, that is very minimal. All right, now you might ask, why do I show you all this stuff? A lot of people ask, why do I show you all this stuff? This does not happen commonly to 1,000 horsepower engines. It doesn't happen commonly to 2,000 horsepower engines. It can happen in 3,000 horsepower engines fairly regularly, 4,000 horsepower stuff, which we're not making that much horsepower with this yet. It happens a lot. Pro Modified would fix this thing so fast in the pits in between rounds that you'd never even knew it was broke. And it happens all the time. They fix this stuff like top fuel cars fix it. It's not a big deal. It's a big deal for us because I'm showing you everything and how things work and what these kind of engines, Pro Modified style engine, is actually doing. So we can see everything is looking good. It's going to be a pretty minimal fix. I think Clark is going to hopefully come back and help me just put it back together because I really don't have any time. We're going to throw that piston in there, and this thing is going to be ready to rock and roll. And Lord willing, we'll go out and start being able to lean on this thing. I think we're getting things figured out. Like I said, all my main studs are all still in place. All my rods are still in place. Didn't break any transmission converter or anything like that. So I think we're looking like we're going to be, hopefully, Lord willing, pretty good. And we'll replace that piston and put this thing back together, and guarantee you Clark's going to be putting it back in. Clark does it way faster than I can, so he'll come back and put it in, and I got to go back to doing more customer work. So I am Steve Morris. Like, subscribe, buy merch, support us however you can. I appreciate it. I do appreciate all you guys watching. Have a great day. Oh, and that sucks.